Hi, my name is Alvin Angel. Thanks for watching another episode of APTV. Today I got Michael Schreiber, the founder and CEO of Funlab, which is one of Australia's biggest entertainment businesses with brands like Archie Brothers, Strike Bowling, Holy Moly, and Hijinks. 86 venues around Australia, New Zealand, and the US. And what's the word that we're trying to coin?
Competitive socializing is the sector of the entertainment, out-of-home entertainment industry that we lead. We lead pretty much globally.
So Michael's going to talk about what the industry is like, what's like in the US, starting your own business, running a business on the side, scale, raising money, everything. There's a wealth of knowledge and experience. So I hope you enjoy this one. You've been in the entertainment business for close to 30 years, or just over 30 years, starting with EDG Entertainment back in the 90s.
Yep.
What's the one single biggest change you see in the entertainment industry in your career?
I think from Funlab's perspective, we got into the industry, got into the bowling industry, where we kind of revolutionized bowling from 20 and 30 lanes to 10 lanes, and we called it boutique bowling, and then started looking at other forms of entertainment and kind of reinventing them, repositioning them. And in 2015, around 2015, 2016, the term competitive socializing was coined, and came into the vernacular. And competitive socializing was born for some in 2015, but by 2015, Funlab was already, a circa $50 million business, and was at the forefront of this new industry called competitive socializing. So that was probably a moment that's been of large change, defining the category we work in.
It's a big difference. If you could call Michael Schreiber in 1996 when you started EDG Entertainment, what would you tell Michael Schreiber?
Buy Apple shares.
That's it?
No.
40 years of wisdom, and that's all you got?
If I could go back in time, no. It would be, innovate sooner and harder, and keep looking around and challenging assumptions.
What stopped you from doing that?
Oh, you just get you get comfortable in your environment and what versus just being probably more open-minded as to the art of the possible.
Looking at the Funlab business, I think if you were more open-minded than you already are, I don't know what this thing would look like. Can you imagine?
No. Yeah, I think that's an early lesson, and I think you are much more cautious early on, and you can become much more adventurous as you grow, because you've got the confidence of success behind you, as well as you can take measured risks and survive.
Interesting, because others say that when they're starting, they have nothing to lose. They take all the risks. It's when the success comes that they're a lot more conservative because they have more to lose. But that's an interesting perspective.
Sure.
But each their own. This is your
exactly.
advice back to yourself.
Exactly.
Advice or learnings for anyone wanting to start their own business today in Australia in 2024.
Yep. Look, it always takes longer than you expect, and it costs more than you expect. So be prepared, and be resilient and adaptive and agile, and know that achieving your goals can be grand, worthy, and rewarding. So it's worthwhile going through the struggles, because they inevitably will be.
But if anyone wanted to do it. You say just go ahead and do it?
Yeah, for sure. The reward and the achievement and the sense of success, and possibly even what you build, can be grand and worthy. So absolutely, without that, we'd probably all still be living in caves. So yeah, important for people to step up and take risks.
Best advice I got was stop thinking and just do it.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, the less likely you'll do it.
Yeah.
Uh, Funlab, yeah. How's AI affecting your business?
Yeah, look, I mean, we continue to investigate and explore. We haven't deployed any AI per se. Um, our expectation is that AI will have a dramatic impact in some businesses more than others. Looking at the US, looking at the performance of AI in terms of the hardware side of the business, I mean, it's kind of bubbled. Chick-fil-A, AI doesn't have a huge part to play in their business in early findings. So, but I'm sure in the likes of the big consultancy companies and legals, it would have a massive impact.
But in social entertainment, as you call it,
No,
are you going to
not
see
in the
AI?
front end as of yet.
No.
No, there'll be games with AI, but nothing like driving, massive organizational change.
So Funlab have 86 venues across Australia, New Zealand, and now the US. What's the next 3 years look like for your business?
Look, we continue to grow. We see 35 to 40 more venues in Australia. Considering we're in 19 of the top 50 shopping centers. So, we've got 30 shopping centers just to get presence in the top 50. Plus, if we looked at Sydney CBD, we've got 1 unit, we've got 6 units in Melbourne, and building 2 more. So, we've got 8 in Melbourne, 1 in Sydney CBD. Not that easy to find the real estate in Sydney, but there's certainly the demand. So, we just need to bide our time, and I've been biding my time for 22 years so far. So,
So being
it's kind of running out, Selman. But we see many more venues. What we see as a moat and a USP for Funlab is deploying presets. So we'll be deploying multiple brands where these brands can bring synergies when we co-locate them. They increase drive time, they increase dwell time, and importantly, we don't have a lot of competitors that can deliver this.
So more brands?
More precincts,
Okay.
more brands together in bigger pieces of real estate.
Okay.
Rundle is a good example, right?
Rundle Place in Adelaide.
Yep. So for brands, big floor plates, potential to add brands to that.
Cool. In 2023, you opened in the US. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What has opening in the US taught you?
Yeah, well, one, the land of opportunity.
So where in the US did you open?
We have 4 operating units right now. We'll have 6 operating units by December. We're currently operating in Denver, Houston, Austin, San Fran. We're opening San Antonio and Santa Monica by December, and then we're opening our largest project to date is 3,500 square meters at Irvine Spectrum in Orange County. And
Wow.
Irvine Spectrum is one of the top pieces of entertainment real estate in the United States. So top 5 cinema, highest grossing Dave & Buster's, where first to market brands come and launch, where first to market food concepts are coming to launch, and an incredible operator, right? And they own Irvine really. Office blocks, airport, shopping malls, residential. It's a huge company.
Why the West Coast? Or
West Coast because good question. The United States is a big continent, and it's a complex mosaic. I like calling it the disunited States of America. There is nothing united about it, and it's as difficult as it opening in one state. exponentially difficult opening in 52 states, right? And flying, backwards and forwards across the country. So by design, our strategy was a West Coast, Southwest entry, one being that time zone wise, you've got much more overlap with Australia. Geographically wise, you're landing on the West Coast.
Makes sense.
And, the Southwest down towards, Texas is high growth. So, that's the tip of our first spear.
And what have you learned from opening in the US?
Yeah, we've learned that it's more challenging than you expect. Specifically in that the perception is that it's very business friendly, and that's not necessarily the case. It's equally bureaucratic, if not more so than Australia. It's expensive to build. It's almost parity on Aussie to US on build cost. So you're looking at 30-40% more expensive in Australia.
Wow.
But it's good once you overcome the challenges. It's certainly, the field is tilted in favor of big corporations. So, as a small business trying to get going there, super challenging, super hard, engaging with landlords without having, credit histories, without having any track record, the securities you have to put up, the hoops you have to go through to establish your bona fides would be extremely challenging for small businesses. So, scale helps. And, being the scale we are, and we did about $250 million turnover last year. So,
wow, congratulations.
It's getting up there.
It's huge.
It's nice to say that.
You deserve it.
Thank you. So we like the US from a growth perspective. We've taken our Holy Moly brand in as a building block for our precincts, and Irvine Spectrum will be our first co-location. So that'll be our first to market hijinks hotel.
Wow, it's huge.
That's great. Yeah. So,
what's your current perception of shopping centers here in Australia?
Look, I think, the industry, again, and I'll talk top 50 shopping centers, they've always been of a pretty high standard, Australian shopping centers.
On a global standard?
On a global standard, drive innovation, and we see it with the likes of how Westfield grew out of Australia, right? So, Australian operations and Australian approach is strong in the shopping center market, and there's a fair amount of innovation and repositioning towards living centers and adding commercial and adding hotel and adding resi and making town centers is the right future direction, which we're seeing globally, and the ones that can are.
So if you were to design your own shopping center from the ground up, what would it look like?
Yeah. Certainly I don't really like talking about or opining on things that I have no idea about. But I'd say, look, something fun and really stand out is something like American Dream, where you've got a ski slope, you've literally got a water park, you've got a theme park.
It's everything.
And, you've got a lot of exciting things happening, but then you've also got Gucci and Louis and, Louboutin equally in their own mall. So interesting. And I know it's had a very checkered past, and it's had a couple of owners, and, the new owners, the jury's still out on is it a success or are they going to be able to deliver it or not. But it's certainly interesting, with Sea Life's there, Lego is there. It's crazy, a crazy amount of entertainment, and that is certainly directional, right? Those are the guys who own Mall of America, so that Edmonton Mall a super interesting family, and very much have been for a long time, very wedded into entertainment as the direction forward. And this is what we're seeing more and more. I was in Mount Gravatt where we opened Holy Moly and Hijinks, and we'd missed opportunity there early in the piece where they repurposed a library and it was, in the mall doors, and we were like, it's separate from the entertainment and leisure precinct. So our competitors went in there, highly successful. So the second time it came around, and we were offered, even deeper into the mall, Hijinks and Holy Moly, we pulled the trigger, and walking the space, I'm like, wow, the entertainment and dining has come from the ELP very much into the shopping center. And I think, speaking to Westfield, it's one of their biggest entertainment footprints in the group.
So other than MATs or turnovers, what makes a successful shopping center? Like, what's the one thing you look for?
Oh, for us, it needs to have an entertainment and leisure precinct, right? So dining, cinema, a late night market, right? At a minimum. And I say late night, I'm saying 6 to 12 is cinema. Yeah, I think cinema, look, the reality is that there's a cinema in every single shopping center, certainly in the top 50, because that was the model for 30 years.
Will that change?
I think if it was easy to change, it would change in that the size of the boxes would shrink, and some of the space would be given back to other entertainment. The reality is that is an incredibly expensive exercise. So you're seeing it play out now in the UK with Cineworld, where they're renegotiating, and they were one of the biggest operators globally. They're renegotiating with all their landlords. They're threatening to hand back the boxes and take out the seats, so that the landlords can't just get another operator in. Then the next operator has to make a big investment. The economics don't stack up, so it's a bit of a checkmate situation. Do the landlords just cop it sweet and cut the rents? Well, that doesn't stack up either. So there's a conundrum to be solved. I think a right-sized cinema with the right type of offer, right? Much more what you're seeing, cool dining, drinking experience combined with cinema, definitely has a place in the future. How do you get there from 18-screen multiplex? Not easy.
It's built very expensively, and more expensive to take out.
Very, very expensive to build, and very expensive to, almost as expensive to demolish. Those, if you've got a raked seating on concrete,
good luck.
Good luck.
What's the one thing you would want to tell landlords here in Australia that you never had the opportunity to say to them? This might just be that
just
opportunity.
Just between me and you.
Just between me and you. Assume no one else is watching this. I don't even think anyone does watch
arrogance and greed are the downfall of a man. Embrace the love.
And so what do you want to tell the landlords? I'm just kidding.
So, look, and we talked about, what landlords can say to get our attention, and fully funded, performance-based rent, always gets my attention, and then I wake up. But alignment of vision and expectation are a great starting point with landlords, because we're not really interested in solving problems, which in the early days that was a mantra of ours, but now it's we're much more interested in building on success and
not creating it.
We're happy to be part of creating the bigger aligned vision, right? So, but we're much less interested in, oh, we've got a box upstairs. Can you take it for us? We'll give you a good deal. That's of less interest to us.
Yeah. So alignments of interest. How often does the first conversation translate to what's being delivered?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So for leasing, I'm a leasing agent. I'll call you.
Yeah.
Assume you never met me before.
Look,
Cold call.
no,
How
no,
do I get your attention?
and we often hear, and we've often been, party to those, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and nothing happens. So, once bitten, twice shy, we now start, protecting ourselves from, over promising and under delivering from a landlord.
That's by creating clauses in your lease.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So we'll write clauses around occupancy and type of occupancy that are going to impact us, and we think that's a very fair approach.
Everyone has skin in the game.
Yep. Don't walk the talk.
Yep. What's the biggest mistake you made in your career?
Oh, so many. Hard to choose.
Biggest, the mother of all mistakes, the one that still keeps you up at night.
No, look, I think the majority of the mistakes, the common thread is real estate in our business. Every box counts, and this is especially true for entertainment concepts that have high capex. And we've written a book on these mistakes. It's a checkbook, unfortunately, and luckily today, we of the size where we can make mistakes, but if you're early entrant, the mistakes can be fatal. So, make sure you're getting the real estate right, because that's a long obligation. It's a lot of capex, and hence, you're writing checks if you've made a mistake. So, on top of losing all your capex, because often it costs more to pull out than to leave in place. You write a check on your way out. So I'd say they're real estate mistakes.
Best decision you made in your career?
Well, aside from marrying my wife, who is
in your career,
extremely supportive and a good sounding board.
I hope that wasn't a career decision.
No, wasn't, but it still helped my career. No, the best decision absolutely has to be finding the right people, surrounding yourself with the right people, investing in them, developing them, and and becoming a best in class team.
You have people in the business that have been with you from the beginning.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Got a lot of people that have been here for 10, 15, 20 years.
Unbelievable.
And with that comes a lot of deep IP.
Yeah.
So it stands us in good stead, and we are a leader in this competitive socializing space. So
absolutely,
planning on carrying on leading and growing.
CBD retail in Australia is talked about all the time across the country, and there's a lot of opinions floating around. If you were Lord Mayor of all of Australia's major CBDs, what would you be doing?
Again, that's don't really like opining on things I have absolutely no idea about. But from a selfish perspective, I'd hope that people return to work and work from the office a lot more than less. Building culture, fighting the loneliness epidemic, and the fact that we're a social species, all play into getting together, being together. It's a much healthier way for humans to engage. So, from a selfish perspective, I'd hope to see that. And I think, that would go a long way to reinvigorating CBDs.
But CBDs work well for you?
For sure. And even
despite all that,
despite everything, I said, that they still play a big part in the social leisure environment, specifically in Melbourne.
And you've taken 10-year views on this plus.
Yeah. So and we're signing new leases in Melbourne CBD, and we'd sign new leases in Sydney CBD tomorrow.
And all this stuff about the CBD, the CBD's over, no one comes to work, and all this sort of stuff, you're still investing in it? What do you see that the media is not telling us?
Again, I think, because we in the leisure social area of activity, we're much more of that after hours visit versus a office hours visit. So not having that office crowd there doesn't impact us nearly as much, because that is being compensated with additional after hours visits. I think, if we were a restaurant with a lunchtime business, it would be a very different story. So it's very much horses for courses.
But your best performing stores, are they located in CBDs?
Still in CBDs. Yep.
That's all we wanted to hear.
Yep.
For growing businesses like Funlab, where venture capital was the venture capital market was a major component or part of your growth, that has changed a lot in the last 12 months. What would your advice be to anyone else who's dependent on outside investments?
Yeah, look, I mean, the investing environment's changed dramatically over the last 15 to 18 months. Interest rates have gone up dramatically globally. That compresses valuations. It makes it harder to get deals away, because it's harder to get them to stack up, and it's also harder to get the loans to do deals. So depending on where you're transacting, it's not obviously bigger deals with bigger businesses can get funding, and we saw Blackstone buy Airtree for $23 billion. So the deal flow starts again, but because it's difficult, it's not a great time, right? And so I'd say drive to survive, really. Maybe we should make a TV show. Optimize what you've got. Focus on performance versus necessarily going out to raise funds to grow right now. Because if you have to, you're probably going to get bent over.
It's probably good advice in any market anyways.
Yeah.
How much longer do you anticipate to be like this? In that space of raising money and getting investment?
I think we much closer to the end than the beginning. As soon as interest rates start coming down, money comes in from the sidelines, people start placing bets again, and we're off. So right now we're close to that, but we're not there yet.
Cool.